welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to show you how to complete a rear brake replacement for a 2012 Subaru Impreza. So first we're going to have a technician remove the wheel from the vehicle. This will give us access to the brakes. Next we're going to remove the two brake caliper bolts. These are the bolts that hold the brake caliper to the brake caliper brackets. These bolts usually they are very easy to remove. Sometimes they do seize into the brake caliper brackets itself. Next, once we expose the brake pads, we're gonna remove the brake pads by separating them from the brake caliper brackets itself. In this case here, the brake pad is really seized into the brake caliper, which is quite common to see because all the dirt and grime and mud and salt, they do build up in this area because it's right near the road. So we in this case we are using a chisel to actually separate the brake pads from the brackets themselves. As you can see here, I can show you the brakes is only metal now, so there's no braking material left on this brake job. Next, we're gonna go ahead and remove the two bolts that hold the brake caliper to the spindle itself. These bolts for this particular vehicle was not that bad. It's quite easy to remove. Didn't seize to the caliper itself. Once you do all these stuff, you should really clean up all the bolt threads when you reinstall the parts. The next thing we're gonna do once the brake caliper bracket is off, we're gonna go ahead and remove the brake rotors. It looked quite easy, but it's pretty seized on there also. The next thing we're gonna do is we are gonna clean up the surfaces where the rotor made to the hub, and then lubricate it with a copper anti-seize so that the new brake rotor will not seize onto that hub. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna clean the brake caliper brackets so that everything can slide properly, the brake can slide on the bracket itself. First, to do that, we're gonna remove the shims that is installed on the brake caliper bracket itself. These shims gonna be replaced with new shims, so we don't worry about damaging it. Usually using a wire brush you'll be able to clean up the surface of where the shim is, but sometimes you do need to use a little bit more aggressive method to clean up all the rust and corrosion there. As you can see here, that's the caliper that we finished service and we put the new shims on. The next thing we're gonna do for the caliper, we're gonna remove the pin of the caliper, clean them up. These pins allow the brake caliper to slide in and out from the brake caliper bracket itself. We use a compound called Silglide. It's a brake compound, like it's a lubricating compound that is safe for rubbers and metal material. You put a nice thin coat on there. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use another lubricating compound so that it does This does not stick onto the caliper like what you saw before. We're gonna put a light coat of it on the back of each brake pads and where the sliding surface of the brake pad is, not the friction material. Next things, once we get all those serviced and lubricated, we're gonna reinstall the new brake rotors on there, reinstall the service, like the newly serviced brake caliper brackets on there. Make sure that all the bolts that we're gonna put in have to be retorqued to manufacturer's specification. You just don't want to wing it, because these are your safety, right? So if you're not going to be careful, you might the brake bolts might come apart and you might lose a wheel. So next we're going to install the brake pads, the new brake pads in there. We're going to compress the brake caliper piston. These caliper piston was meant to push the brake pad and apply the brake pad when you apply your brake pedal. So once we push back the caliper piston, we're going to reinstall the caliper. Once again, reinstall the bolt to the caliper. Some people, they put Loctite in them. Usually factory doesn't come with Loctite, so I don't put Loctite on them. I just make sure I torque the bolts properly. Some manufacturer also recommend replacing these bolts when you do brakes. So you just have to do as per, pretty much as per the manufacturer request. Once everything is torqued down, now we can go ahead and put the tires back on. Once again, retorque all the lug nuts on them. Make sure you retorque all the lug nuts on them, because I've seen too many vehicles that lose wheels because people think that gunning the lug nuts in there is fine, or just tighten it until you can't tighten it anymore. So once we install all the new brakes and rotor parts, we're now going to put back the wheels, retorque it, and go for a test drive to seat the brake pads with the new rotors. We're going to update you once our technician comes back. Our technician came back from the test drive. Everything went smooth. The brakes applied perfect. He literally stopped on a dime. So if you like our video or this type of video, please like, subscribe and share. Thank you.